All right, troops. Hello and welcome to That Mental Ginger Show with your host Andrew Durning, aka The Mental Ginger. Well, my three faithful followers, I am in such a good mood today. I'm in such a great mood. And do you want to know why? Well, I'm going to tell you, so you've got no choice. It's because this guest I have not seen since I was 17 years old, back in the days when we worked in Colin School's theatre group. We ran into each other every now and then after that, but it's been so long since I've seen this person. I'm delighted to introduce you to the wonderful, the talented, the beautiful Alexandria Adamson. Alexandria, thank you so much for coming on. It is brilliant to see you.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here, Andy. It really is.
Because I was thinking about that before we came on. I was like, when was the last time that we really properly had the conversation? And I think it was when we finished Oliver at Colin School's theatre. It was the last. It was the last night, because I played Fagin, and you were.
I don't even remember what I was. I think I was just a chorus.
No, you had a part. You had a part.
Did I?
Who's the guy that adopts Oliver at the end again? It was that. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I've been in the show twice now, and the name escapes me.
I do remember, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I've been in the show twice, and it still escapes me. But that's who you played, because I always remember your last line. "Come on, Oliver, we are taking you home." And I just remember thinking, "That's it," because that was the year that a lot of us left. That was the year a lot of us left, and I was like, "Oh man, that's the last line that I'm going to see in this. Going to hear in this group." It was so surreal. But it's also quite good that I remember that from literally half a lifetime ago, because I'm 34 now.
I'm 30. We'll snap with we're both 34, and I'm 30. I'm coming up to coming up to 35 in April.
Yeah, well, don't worry. If it makes you feel any younger, my wife is at the time of this recording goes out, she will have turned 39. So there you go.
Hey.
Well, it's ironic because we've got my older brother, his wife, my wife, and me, and my wife's the oldest and I'm the youngest. So it works out quite well. But she looks younger than all of us, so it's quite good.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I like to do with all my guests is to ask them about their origin story, because if there's one thing that we all have in common in this earth, we all have an origin story. So Alexandria, please, in your own time, and tell us whatever you're comfortable with about your origin story.
Yeah. Well, my origins came actually from growing up in corporate in Shorehead, in the Shorehead area of Coatbridge. My biological father was domestically abusive, and my gran brought me up because my gran and papa brought me up in Shorehead, and I actually and I went to Drum Park School with who I believe is your mum, Vilma, and it was such a coincidence because when we met at Collins Theatre School, I thought the penny dropped. The penny just dropped. And I thought, I wonder if Andy is related to Wilma, and then it just came out that you were, and from there I went to Coatbridge College, I done my NQ in performing arts and attempted to do HND in musical theatre, but unfortunately I was still under that domestic abuse, because my grandpapa had passed away when I was 17 and 18, and it was during that time the abuse was affecting my mental health to a point that I was ready to commit suicide. But amazingly, as amazing as she is, my mum took me away with her to Weymouth in Dorset, and unfortunately, with the government, with the Tory government steering the country towards Brexit, as well as an autistic and disabled woman. It was quite a difficult time, and up to that point, I was under the surface. I was trying to find who I really am, and it just so happened back in 2012 I went back to education in Southampton, and completed my BTEC national enhanced diploma in performing arts and music. And when just before I was about to complete my training, I came out, and I found that I've always been the woman that I am, and amazingly my mum accepted me, and I've been on the journey now. I've been on the journey since, and if I'm about to I'm just coming up to completing the journey through surgery next year, and I can't even believe how much progress has been made in Scotland since I came back. Amazingly, Drake Music Scotland is currently supporting me in compiling my first original project, my first original songwriting project called Turn It White, which is a song that I'd written a few years ago when I suffered a bit of transphobia and ableism at the very well-known Cavern Club where the Beatles were discovered, and obviously that's in Liverpool, and it was quite a challenging time, and it's a bit of a devil, you know. It feels like now that I'm back in Scotland, everything is finally coming into place, and it really is, and being on the show, it's I'm really honoured to be here, and yeah, yeah, it's absolutely, and it just as everyone knows, my pronouns are she, her. Yeah, so yeah, so that's it.
No, Alexandra, thank you so much for being so brave and so open and telling me your story. There's obviously been a lot that I've missed since we parted ways all those years ago, and to be so honest and so upfront about your mental health, which is one of the reasons that I do this podcast, to try and raise awareness about mental health and everything really to raise awareness of mental health, and to be so open about it, and to be open about your journey, to be your true self. I'm trying to make sure that I say the right words, because I know that I've still got a lot to learn about all that kind of stuff.
You've got it real. You've got it down, mate. And it's I'm still so happy that we're still friends, and I just can't put it into words.
Of course, we always were friends. I know there was times where I fell off the map, and that was a lot of my own struggles that I was going through mental health wise, which I wasn't ready to talk about then, but fortunately been able to talk about now.
It's understandable.
And it takes someone like yourself to talk to about it that would really kind of understand, because you've been in those dark places as well, where you've struggled and you've not felt like you can keep going, and you do get it. One of the things that I always did want to ask you about, and finally feel comfortable that I can ask you about, is that that you are autistic, and there was a point where I actually thought that I got told that I might be on the spectrum. But I got too scared and I never got checked or whatever. So to explain for people who maybe aren't as aware of autism as, say, like you and I that may be listening, is there a way you can describe what the way autism has maybe impacted or even benefited your life?
Well, when I was younger, I did identify that I did see the world a heck of a lot differently to neurotypical people, and it was even before the school days that I found that creativity really drove me, and it still does. And what that my career has transitioned quite a few. It's transitioned quite a few times, but due to a lot of ableist and transphobic issues, particularly in the West End, with a lot of very well-known producers. That one in particular that whose comments had come out not in favour of trans and gender non-conforming artists as being a gimmick, which is baseless discrimination. But when I talk about my own experience of being on the autism spectrum, basically my autism effect, being on the autism spectrum means that I can only focus on one thing, and that is being is my music and performing in that, and everything else is just don't even go there. Even going out on my own is so overloading, but because every sound, everything visual around us is overwhelming, and it can really hurt, and it can really hurt someone who's on the autism spectrum, to a point that even myself, I'm terrified of going out. I'm terrified of going out there on my own, just to avoid from putting myself through all that sensory overstimulation. But when I get opportunities like coming onto the show, being offered or going to gigs, it's the best feeling in the world. And I'm glad to say that I have networked, during the pandemic, I have networked with a lot of artists internationally, and I'm glad to say I can't even say that. I can't even believe I'm saying it, that I've been invited to join a few people over in Nashville, of all places, to launch what will potentially be a double single.
Wow.
Of two songs that I've written. And
that's amazing, Alexandria. Well done. That is brilliant. That is so great. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
So what genre is it going to be? Is it going to be like a country rock?
It's a country. The A side is a country rock. It's a country rock. And the title of it's Country Bread, and it was inspired by a country rock ballad by the amazing Toby Keith. And it's a country. It's a driving country rock kind of. You know what it's like. You know what country rock's like. It's really driving and rock. Yeah.
And the lyrics are always really powerful as well, especially in country rock music. Wow, that's fantastic. I'm so happy for you.
And the B side, actually, I could. I don't know if I could do this, but if I could have, I would have let you hear what will be the B side of the single. It's called Turn It White, and it's a it's a bit of a cross between a folk, the cross of a folk ballad, but I haven't forgotten my roots in Scottish folk music, and a lot of that is part of what is Turn It White. Because as I said before, I wrote the song at a time when I was under quite an immense pressure because of acceptance issues in Liverpool. But I felt that there should be a revival, and after hearing your version of Flower of Scotland, I think, oh, brilliant, brilliant is it. I've just felt, I've been feeling that there's a huge uprising in Scottish trad music, and the way that your idea has kind of contributed to the Scottish tradition is just absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. Obviously, there was a lot of people involved, but I really appreciate you saying those lovely things.
Yeah.
So when do you go to Nashville?
Well, I'm flying out on on April 5th from Edinburgh. But I still even though that I haven't found that I'd never ever cross the border, because I am so pro-independent. So pro-independent that Scotland should have the right to a second independence referendum, because basically Westminster is just, it's a pile of shit, to put it plainly.
That's actually putting it very politely, considering what a lot of people have said. But I get what you mean. What I really do.
Yeah,
but
to be honest, it's ash. It's ash.
You're going on to bigger and better things. And the best part is you've taken the experiences that let's face it, a lot of people would suffer from, even if they were in the healthiest state of mind and going through it. A lot of people would suffer from them. And not only have you risen above it, you've harnessed it, you've made it into something meaningful and beautiful, and you've forced it into something that's getting you ahead in what you are good at and what you're passionate about, and that is really admirable. I'm so proud of you.
Well, I'm trying, but there's a lot, still quite a lot to push on for, but change is coming. Yeah.
And it's all about it's always, I found it's about not being afraid to ask the questions from people like myself who maybe need the education and want it but are too scared to, and it's people on the other side being able to tell it without them saying, well, you're asking that because you don't know, you're ex-phobic, and I'm like, no, I'm not, I don't have a clue. I want to make sure, especially with my sons growing up in this world, I don't know what will happen down the line, but I want to always make sure that I can, if I can't totally understand it, I can be there and be supportive for them.
Yeah, you're a great father, and yeah, you're an absolutely amazing father. You're an absolutely amazing father, and a great pal. And I can't believe that our friendship has just sustained up to now, and it's going to be like this for another.
It's one of those things that my best friend my best friend I've known since he was 5 years old, and we're next year will be 35, so we've known each other 30 years. So it's one of the things I always say, I'm kind of like in the equation of friends, I'm kind of like herpes. Once you've got me, you're kind of stuck with me. So
and
it's not exactly the most delicate of analogies, but it's true for like people that I try and if I make a connection with them and we have like a good bond like yourself and I do, it doesn't matter if you're in London, Liverpool, Nebraska, Canada, wherever, we'll always be friends, and and I'll always be privileged to know you.
And that's the main point, mate. And it's great.
But so aside from going to Nebraska and recording your single, is there anything between end of 2021 to that point in 2022 that we can look forward to from you, Alexandra? Have you got any gigs coming up?
Well, not in the interim, but yesterday, you actually missed one yesterday, and it's actually you can actually follow it on my personal Facebook page. I was performing at the Edinburgh Folk Club, but it wasn't. Nice. But I kind of stumbled in a couple of songs, but it was a great gig, and
you still got out there and you done it, and that's brilliant. Because I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't set foot on a stage since 2013.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know what I was like back in the day. I was always on the stage. And the thought of going back on a stage at the minute, even before COVID and stuff, it still terrifies me. So the fact that you can still do that, and after going through everything, it just makes me respect you even more than I already did, and I had a very high bar for that.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Even the way I see it is, even when I was drilled in making a space, specifically a performance space, that is, I'm an artist, and the stage is my canvas. The stage is my canvas to practice my creativity, and if an audience does come, and it's a bonus. It might come over quite overwhelming, but the audience is part of that. The audience is part of that canvas, and if they do come in, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to educate them. Particularly with another project that I've got in the back catalogue. It's a one-woman show about growing up, being autistic and trans, under extreme hostility in the 90s, growing up in the 90s before the Gender Recognition Act and the Autism Act came into fruition, and it came into legislation which was, well, it really isn't great at the moment, but we should be really pushing to advance such legislation to be more powerful. But the only way, in my opinion, the Tories will never listen to us, because they never do. But we really do need an independence referendum, because what I've seen from living in England, there will never be progress in there where the progress in Scotland not so much the councils, because they're still in control with Westminster, but the Scottish government have really done autistic, disabled, and gender diverse people, well, Scottish people, really proud by the progress that has been done here, and it just blows my mind. It really does. And I wouldn't be sitting here in my UWE house, thinking that there is the hope that change will become very soon in Scotland, as Scotland as an independent country. It's going to be brilliant.
Now, we're starting to come up on time. Alexandria, as much as I don't want to let you go, my wife's at a psychic night tonight, and unlike the psychic, I can't predict when she's coming home. So I'll ask you the final question that I ask all my guests. If you could give one piece of advice to anybody that may be struggling with mental health issues right now, what would that piece of advice be, and why?
Just keep the faith. Just keep the faith. You are loved, and if I can do it, so can you. And don't let the bastards get round you down.
Best advice that you can possibly give. That's really good. So we'll round off with every LGBTQ plus members' favourite segment. I change it every episode, so don't worry. Ask Andrew anything. And this is where after about 35 minutes of me grilling my guest, then they get to ask me a question. It can be about anything at all. I've got to be 100% honest. Could be as mundane as what's your favourite pot noodle, to as ridiculous as who would win in a fight between a donkey and a chihuahua.
Yeah.
So, Alexandria, do you have a question for this mental ginger?
I do have a question for this mental ginger, and that question is, what is your views of D-Ross?
If I do have to be 100% honest, and I probably will get cancelled if I am 100% honest. Yeah, oh man, how to say this?
Even better. Do you still like Nickelback?
Love Nickelback. Love it. Love Nickelback. It's actually Alison and I's band. What we Far Away was our first dance at our wedding.
amazing.
as well.
Amazing.
So
I
can answer that question with a wee interesting story about it, because we were sitting, I still lived with, remember Big Craig McEwen, he did tech for Colin?
Oh yeah.
So we lived together, we roommated for a year and a half when I was in college, when I met Alison. And we were just sitting in the, me and Alison were sitting in the living room, and Nickelback came on. And I was about to change it, because at that point I thought she just liked dance and like club and all the stereotypical kind of ones. And Alison is definitely not a stereotypical woman. I mean, nicest respect, she has more balls than me. So it came on, and she was like, oh no, don't skip it. I like Nickelback. I was like, I like Nickelback too. So just for a giggle, I put on Far Away. And I dragged her onto the living room floor and slow danced with her. And I know this sounds really weird, because we were only going out about a month at that point, but as I held her when we were just like essentially just fumbling, shuffling back and forth, I just my brain just said, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this woman. And so far, so good. She agreed to marry me. Nickelback's the first dance at the wedding. We went to see Nickelback together.
I'm just so proud you found your soulmate. And because the first vivid memory that I've got when we first met was well, I wouldn't even call it a jam, but when we were in that little room next to the rehearsal space with Chris Thorburn was like just my emotion out on how you remain, man. It's
oh man.
Happy memories, good memories, but the other piece of advice I would say is to anyone suffering with mental health issues is just remember all those happy memories, because all those happy memories that you've accumulated, because that's what's driven me to sustain good mental health, and with all the friendly relationships that I've accumulated in the past are all so vital to my mental health, and it's the best feeling in the world that I've got so many friends like you, Andy. And
well, in the words of Andy Newman, you've got a friend in me.
It's the best.
It's always good. And you'll always have me around to talk to. You know that. I'm always just a messenger away. Well, Alexandria, I'm going to have to wrap up, but it's been a real pleasure to not only just speak to you, but to see you and see how well you're doing and how far you've came. You put the smile back on my face today after I didn't have a very good day at work, and I've had and I'm in such a good mood now. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
You as well, mate. Love you.
Love you too. So until next time, my 3 faithful followers, I have been Andrew Durning. This has been the beautiful Alexandria Adamson. Sorry, that was a wee bit of a blip. Alexandria Adamson. I'm not going to censor it because I always like it unfiltered. Keep an eye out for our single when she lets me know once it's done, after it's been recorded in Nashville. Very well done. Very proud of you. So until next time, my 3 faithful followers, take care. Stay safe.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.